Heaven passed judgment. God had grown weary of man and sought to end him. But man did not kneel. Man rebelled. And from the fire of that rebellion, an emperor rose, not chosen by prophecy, but forged in fury. He struck down the gods with mortal steel. And when their bodies fell, he tore them apart and cast their remains across the lands, mountains, rivers, fields. His name was Theron Varel Sol, first emperor, slayer of the divine, guardian of humanity. But this is how he died. The pain came first, sudden, salty. My limbs went numb, my breath caught, and a bitter heat rose up my throat. A black blade had pierced clean through my chest. I could taste my own blood hot and thick as I turned around, and standing there, with the sword still buried in my back, was a boy? No, not a boy. My son. His hands trembled, drenched in my blood. His eyes were wide with horror, yet he did not drop the blade. He was Kellyan Varel Solheim, my firstborn, my heir, my beloved. A child born from my soul, quite literally, brave, beautiful, unshakable. Even in the face of dragons, all had said he was destined to become the next emperor. And yet now, his sword pierced my heart. Kellyan whispered, "Father." My body burned, but I didn't know whether it was from the cursed blade or the hands that held it. The agony was unspeakable, and still, I did not fall. I had endured divine fire, eldritch curses, and deathless wars. I was Theron, the man who felled gods. I did not die either. With a final breath, I let out a thunderous shout. The palace shook. Pillars cracked. Every object in the room shattered into splinters. And Kellyan collapsed to his knees before me, more shaken than I, the dying man, could ever be. He bowed his head and mumbled broken words, as if trying to undo what had already been done. My heart ached with more than pain. I had so many questions. Why was he here, instead of leading the war in the East? How had he breached my guards? Where had he found a weapon that could kill me? But most of all, why? Why would he, of all people, do nothing? Because the truth was already plain. He had betrayed me, and that was all that mattered. The sword remained in my chest, pulsing with death. But I did not move. I could have torn his soul from his body. I could have cursed this entire world with my dying breath. But I didn't, because even now, I loved him. Even now, in this moment of heartbreak, he was still my son. I thought back to the God who once whispered immortality into my ear, an offer I had refused, because I didn't want to rule forever, only long enough to protect mankind. Now, none of that seemed to matter. I was tired. My empire was built on sacrifice, a life filled with war, death, and suffering. I gave up everything for mankind, but in the end, the only joy I'd ever known. The one person who brought light to my darkness was the one who pierced me with his sword. Maybe this was what I deserved. Maybe my empire was born of blood, and it was only right that it ended the same way. Don't ask him anything. That was the decision I made. I didn't want to hear his excuses. I didn't want to know why. I only wanted to let go. The blade inside me pulsed again. It writhed like a serpent, devouring my insides. Blood spilled down my fingers thick, burning, igniting into flame where it touched the floor. Something within me snapped. I felt it. The end. I was not afraid. I felt only hollow. That was how I, Theron Varel Solheim, first emperor of the realm, guardian of humanity, butcher of the divine, felt. In the 47th year of the empire, I died. Not by blade alone, but by the hand of the one I loved most. 47 years later, the world forgot me. And in the 94th year of the imperial calendar, a fire consumed the southern plains. A blaze so vast it swallowed forests, cities, and rivers, leaving nothing behind but ash. Amid the ruins stood a boy, hair singed, skin scorched, soul unraveling. His voice broke through the silence. The boy I was ready to die back there, his hands clenched into fists, his body shaking. Who the hell brought me back to life? No one knew who he was. No one could answer his rage. But in his voice echoed the memory of a dead empire, a forgotten godslayer, and a betrayal that still burned.